What's up, everyone? I'm John Laird from 101X Homegrown. I'm joined by Alex Maas. Normally, I would say Alex of the Black Angels or Levitation, and that's what we would jump into. But in this particular case, you have a solo album coming out. It's called Luca. It's going to be out at the start of December. Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, so I this is my first solo record. I've made a lot of songs, obviously, that have gone to various projects, mainly the Black Angels band that I'm in. And I guess just over time, I just accumulated a bunch of songs, and people were kept telling me to put a solo record out, and I was always like, I'm just gonna, I'm gonna wait for that. And eventually, I just had enough songs and enough people bugged me about it that I just did it, so they would be quiet about it.
Yeah, because I
Um,
know like there's like a video for you doing Been Struggling, which is the first single off the album. I think that video is maybe 10 years old. I saw it
yeah.
on YouTube the other day and I was like, wow, that song is much older than I would have guessed. So is there some part of this then outside of I guess maybe people nagging you or that maybe you accumulated enough songs, but is there some level here too that just kind of related to the pandemic, the quarantine, just kind of a good time to kind of
Well,
do this?
I started this record like a year and a half, 2 years before the quarantine. I think what really put this album into place was that the Angels were on, you know, in between record cycles, and I had just had my wife and I just had a baby boy, and his name's Luca, and that's the name of the record. And I was at home a bunch. I was at home a lot, and that was kind of where a lot of these songs were inspired. Been Struggling is kind of like one of the ones that was written before, but I think that's really what sparked this whole thing. And if you listen to the record from that perspective, knowing that, it makes a lot more sense lyrically and conceptually where I was kind of coming from on the record.
And so you technically had your own quarantine when you had a baby. So you've been in the game for much longer than most people.
Yeah, it didn't seem like things were different, but they weren't a ton like a lot different for me. Like that, I was still at home. I'm still at home making music. Still, I was at home before this making music, not talking to anybody, not hanging out with anybody. So,
I will
um,
say, your team sent me in advance of the albums, so I gave it a number of spins the other day, and I know this is going to sound so trendy-ish, like industry talk. I don't know, but there is a real vibe to it. Like the
cool.
kind of album you just want to go like driving to, or put on early like Saturday morning, just loud and just hang out on your couch. Was that kind of, I know the Angels normally thump, so was
Yeah.
that kind of the mindset for this? Was to kind of take a little bit of a left turn and
Yeah, like if you listen to the Angels records, there's always like one or two songs that probably could have been on this record. Like if you listen to like Death Song, there's like Estimate and like Half Believing, and it's like those fit in a different kind of world or whatever, but they still feel like the Black Angels. So I think there's always songs like the ones off Luca thrown into the hat or whatever.
right?
And this is just like a large collection of those slower tempo songs. And you've mentioned songs that you can drive to. I think that's like a really great mark if you can make that, songs that you can
Yeah.
just turn on and drive to. With the Black Angels, it's songs that you can rob a bank to. And so, and so it's like a little bit different. So maybe this is songs that you drive to the bank before you do it. And then you switch to albums and you put the Black Angels on, rob the bank.
If I get down to robbing a bank on the way there, I'll listen to your solo album, but then
Yeah.
once I get out, AirPods, and then I'll cue up the Angels and
Yeah, exactly.
the
And then
perfect heist.
yeah, then getaway music. I don't know.
So I guess from here, the album's not out till December, which is sort of that weird gray area of the year for any kind of like release because it's like, what do you do?
Yeah,
So are
yeah.
you looking at like any kind of live stream performances, or are you just going to kind of let it enter the world and pick it back up in 2021?
Yeah, so we're doing I'm doing a show on the this Thursday actually. So I'm doing a series of shows, and I don't know what's going to be released for what. So I'm just going to record a bunch of them, and the best one that the one that sounds the best will release around that time. So I'm doing one for a virtual reality company. They're called Supersphere, and I think they're working with a tech company called Oculus, who
Oh,
does
cool.
VR stuff. And yeah, so that I'm doing a solo show at the Mohawk with no audience, just the VR cameras and playing songs from the record. I had I have this problem where I never want to play the entire record all the way through. I probably should, but I've written a bunch of songs since then, and I just want to play those now.
Of course.
so
Of
I
course.
so I am playing most of the songs off the record at that, and the next a couple new songs, and then in November I'm doing something for the city of Bastrop, which is I'm going to be playing in their opera house down there. They have an opera house. Um,
Nice. Is that going
yeah,
to be full band?
it's gonna be full band, and this
Nice.
one on Thursday is gonna be full band too. And I think for that one, I might try to lean towards playing more of the entire record. Um, and then I have a couple other shows lined up that are kind of in creative spaces or whatever, or maybe not so creative spaces. And I'm
Are
trying
they
to,
all going to be audience less?
yeah, all of them will be audience less. I
Is
mean,
that,
I know people are playing like at this drive-in theater down
yeah.
south. Um, we might. I don't know. Maybe we'll try to do something like that. But I think it's like really too soon to go into a venue and have people. Even like I don't know. I mean, venue owners are gonna cringe, but I still feel like it's too early. Like to get back in, and even like with tables 6 feet apart, it's like I'm smelling people's perfume in that place. So it's like I know that they're like particles are like getting in the mask or whatever. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to do anything too soon and screw it up for everybody. Like not that our show's gonna screw it up for everybody, but if
Yeah.
everybody had that mentality, it'd be like that.
There is definitely that level of, I don't know if guilt is the right word, where with anything live, with anything over, a handful of people that kind of weighs on you, even if it's distance, even if it's, just whatever. It's hard to kind of escape that. I definitely think there's that comfort level for everyone that you got to kind of operate at, to each to their own, I guess, at the end of the day with this stuff. So is
Yeah,
it weird then playing with no crowd or the very minimal of crowd, or are you just kind of into
I'm
it
gonna
and
be okay
don't
with it, man.
notice?
Yeah, I'm just gonna get in the zone and play. I usually tune out everything else anyways. So it's like typically I don't even realize that there's a crowd there. My eyes are closed and stuff. So I don't think it's gonna bother me too much. There'll just be less clapping instead of like one or two people clapping. There'll be zero.
Right. Well, just get the sound guy to cue up clapping
That's a good
for
idea.
every song, and then it's a little fake. It's kind of like the NFL or the NBA playoffs in the
Yeah,
bubble where they just had crowd noise, but
that's pretty funny. Maybe we'll do that though. It would
there's a
be
way.
funny.
There's always a way if you need.
Yeah.
So then 2021. Let's say we get back to being able to kind of have standard touring, that kind of stuff. Do you plan to hit the road in support of the solo album, or is just just kind of an
Yeah, no,
interesting aside?
I know. I think it would. I'm gonna have to in some way. But I mean, when is that gonna be, and what's that gonna look like?
I
And
wish I knew.
so like, yeah. In the meantime, we're writing. We're writing new music. We're almost finished the new Black Angels record. Like, so that it'll be kind of like, backing up to that, and then I don't know. I mean, I might have another record out by then. In
Yeah.
20 years when this thing is over. It's
You'll
like,
have to do the real like big band thing where you open Black Angel shows, and you
oh
just
yeah.
play for 3 hours, I guess.
No, that
But
Yeah, no, that would be really cool. I mean, because enough of us in the band have our own little projects, we could put a whole
it's
thing
true,
together. We'd
Christian
just get
too.
completely like knackered after the end of it, just
Yeah, yeah, every night, just 4 or 5 hours of yeah. Your tour would be about 4 dates, and then you'd be like, all right,
all right, that's enough.
we're good. So okay, then that new Black Angels album. Do you guys anticipating that out next year?
Um, we say that, but I think that one, and so this record, the solo record, I felt like I didn't want to wait any longer. It already been pushed back. Like the pandemic hit, the record was done, and then like it was just been so difficult. And so back to real quick, the other thing is like, yeah, releasing in December, we were like, oh well, nobody releases a record in December except like Justin Timberlake and stuff like that. But like then we're like, okay, well if nobody's doing it ever, then we'll just do it and fill that spot. So we kind of went there with it.
Yeah, why not?
So
It's
yeah,
been a weird year anyways.
it's a weird year. Just kind of get it out there and whatever. So but I absolutely want to tour on it. We're actually releasing the record on Innovative Leisure here in the United States, and then a really cool record label called Basin Rock in England. And yeah, those two guys are teaming up and helping push the record. I wanted to mention that. But yeah, so about Black Angel stuff. There's just so much to talk about. The Black Angel stuff. Yeah, so we're almost done with that record, and then yeah, that's another thing. It's like, well, is there a rush to put it out? That's definitely something that needs to be toured on. I know that my solo record needs to be toured on too, but it's I don't know. It seems like the Black Angels for us to like really make it like worth our while. I guess that's kind of, for studio fees and all that stuff. It's like you have to really take it on tour
Yeah.
to get back to into being the black or whatever.
Well, Alex, it sounds like you have a lot of decisions to make, and I just
yeah.
stirred it all up for you.
Yeah, are you gonna help with that or no? Probably
Whatever
not.
you need, man. I'll hit
Okay.
the road. Yeah, so screw it. I'm in. It's been. It might as well follow a weird year with just a year of randomly touring with you guys. Why not?
I mean, we have space.
We just hit the road there. Speaking of that kind of stuff too, alongside the Black Angels, I know Levitation was not able to happen this year. Did you guys consider any kind of like virtual angle of that, or is it just kind of
Yeah,
a
no.
little
So
bit of that it's been done, or too
no,
much
no, no.
work?
We're getting into those spaces. Like I think it's you have to get into those spaces and carve out like something for yourself. Otherwise, it's like if everybody else is doing it, you might as well. So yeah, no, we did a really good show with the OCs. There were a ton of people that watched that. The OCs filmed something out in at Pappy and Harriet's out in Pioneer Town in California, and then we streamed it live, or we streamed it later actually on our platform. And we're going to continue to do that through Levitation with Levitation bands. There's so many of them, and so many of them are just like, what are we going to do now? So the Black Angels will be doing something like that too through Levitation. And yeah, it's one of those weird things that like you just have to figure out how to navigate and get through this weird stuff. And I don't know, man. It's like one of those like maybe this is the way people watch concerts in the future. I don't know. Like I was just thinking, obviously with the virtual reality, like these like virtual reality headsets, like you can watch bands and be like, okay, I want to watch that the drummer. I want to go watch the bass player, and I just happen to have one of those lying around. When I got them, I think I got one of those from when I got my cell phone. They gave it to me for free. But yeah, so maybe that's the way that people do it. You don't have to leave your house, and I mean, who knows what what the world looks like
Yeah.
after we come out of this thing. And you know, we just want to be like water and just kind of move with.
And you guys have already pretty much been that way with Levitation for a while, from full fest in the field to venues to this. Like you guys are, at least somewhat equipped to kind of take Levitation and kind of mold it into, whatever you need it to be at any particular time.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's that whole survival thing, and we just have to adapt and move forward and not really get too caught up. I mean, everybody knew the world was ending. We always knew it was, and then here's like another kind of, not that it's completely like all doom and gloom, but it's like, I was kind of already mentally prepared for something crazy like this to happen. So
Right.
it wasn't like this real shock. It's really sucks, but it wasn't just like, oh my gosh, this is like, you know, I, I don't know. Maybe I just had lower expectations for something for humanity.
I will definitely say, this biz, I think if the pandemic has really shown anything about like kind of the music industry is, it's really highlighted those that are able to stay flexible with things, move in a different direction if they need to, and not just be so kind of dedicated to there's this specific cycle, this specific way of doing things. And if
Yeah, yeah,
we don't do it
totally.
that way, it doesn't work. And it's like, well, that's not necessarily true. There is a lot of different ways to do a lot of different things. Audiences are more flexible than you think, you
Hmm.
know. And I definitely think the pandemic has kind of shined a light a little bit on a lot of those people who are really good at just kind of rolling with the punches.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of a sink or swimmy type thing. I think, yeah, it's interesting. You're absolutely right. And who knows? Like we might not even know, like whatever, we might not even know like what this looks like. There's still something that to be invented, or everybody's doing something new every day. So, um, but people are resilient, and I'm hopeful.
Me too.
I might have low expectations for humanity, but I'm hopeful.
But that doesn't mean you're all doom and gloom. We're
No,
pulling.
no.
We're
Yeah,
hoping. We're
exactly. Yeah,
hoping.
exactly.
All right, Alex. Well, thanks for joining me, man. I've already heard this solo album, and Luca is awesome. I listened to it a bunch the other day, just on repeat. Like
Oh
I
man.
said, it's just a real vibe. I know that sounds so trendy and whatever,
No,
but
not really. I mean, like, I know what you mean, and like, yeah, I know what you mean. I don't think it sounds trendy. Like you're talking about my record, so I'm gonna be like, no, no, that sounds good. It sounds good.
but yeah, Luca is out December 4th. Again, I'm vouching for it now. You're gonna play a couple songs off of Luca. Do you know what you're looking at doing?
Yeah, I'm gonna play the song called "The City," and then I'm gonna play "Been Struggling," which is the song we talked about earlier.
The City is an awesome song, great album closer. But
Cool.
yeah, all right. So Alex is gonna run off and do that. Again, I'm John Laird from 101X Homegrown. Thanks for joining. Thanks to Doers Vodka for their support of Homegrown and all things local. If you need more details, hit up 101x.com. Otherwise, Alex is gonna play a couple of songs, and I'm gonna pretend to be useful. That's it. Bye.
Yeah. Bye. All the watchmen on the tower are sleeping, and the men have all gone home. Now that's a city that's ripe for the taking. In behind the castle's walls, the children playing as the army lost their position. All the watchmen on the tower are sleeping, and the men have all gone home. Now that's a city that's ripe for the taking. And someone took it for the love of taking. All the many broken bones, the people dying, all the many burning homes, the women crying. Now that's a city that's ripe for the taking. And someone took it, now it's yours for the taking. All the watchmen on the tower are dreaming, and the men have all gone home as the army starts advancing. Now that's a city that's ripe for the taking. Now that's a city that's ripe for the taking. Now that's a city. Now That's our city that's been taken. Strangers' hands all over my chest. Strangers' lips saying what I love the best. You should have been struggling like all of the rest. You should have been struggling, she said, like all of the rest of them boys when we woke to the pearl grey dawn of winter. Then we spoke on the silence that turned to laughter, waiting for the sleepy sun, waiting for the day to come. You should have been struggling like all of the rest. You should have been struggling, she said, like all of the rest of them boys. You should have been struggling like all of the rest. You should have been struggling, she said, like all of the rest of them boys when we woke to the pearl grey dawn of winter. Then we spoke on the silence that turned to laughter, waiting for the sleepy sun, waiting for the day to come. You should have been struggling like all of the rest. You should have been struggling, she said, like all of the rest of them boys. You should have been struggling like all of the rest. You should have been struggling, she said, like all of the rest. La 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 la, la.